childhood. This happened back in, I'd have to say it was probably around 1979, 1980, something like that. Probably about 1979, I think. And I was a kid, I was about 10 years old, I think, at the time. And I'd been to school and it was a Friday. So I was particularly happy because it was a Friday, because I absolutely hated school. So, you know, when it was Friday, it was a very happy time. So I'd been to school that day. I don't think it was a bad day. It had been pretty good there. And I used to walk home, and I lived opposite these docks, where you'd have these big ships and boats and things there. So I used to just walk down the road. It was one big long straight road all the way back to my house, and finally my house was on the right hand side. So I walked back this particular day. Now it was a hot sunny day. It wasn't dark or, you know, creepy at all in any way. It was a nice hot summer's day. So I went to my front door and knocked, and there was no answer. There was nothing unusual about it, because sometimes my mum would just be out sometimes and hadn't got back yet. But luckily we had a garage or garage right next to our house. We was like the sort of last house on the corner, and it had a garage or garage, and so it was very easy for me just to sort of climb over. You had like a little bit of brick wall, and then on top of that was like a little bit of like corrugated iron sort of fence. So I would just literally climb over that, drop down into the garage, walk through the garage or garage, and come out into my back garden or backyard, and then go through the kitchen door. I had a dog that was the size of an American werewolf in London, so I didn't have to worry about that door ever being locked. So I've climbed over the garage, gone through, come out into my garden or yard, and gone in to my house through the back door into the kitchen. So I've walked in, I've looked in the back room, because we used to have a room at the back. Then we had a middle room that was next door to the kitchen. Looked in there, there was no one in there. Went into the living room, and there was no one there either. So I've then gone upstairs, and at the time my bedroom was the first room as you came upstairs, because my sister and I would always be swapping rooms. So sometimes I would have the smaller box room and she had the bigger room, and sometimes I would have the bigger room and she would have the box room. In this particular case, she had the box room and I had the bigger room. And then next door to the box room was my parents' room. So I come up, I looked in my parents' room just to make sure my mum weren't in there, because sometimes she'd be having a nap, and she wasn't there. I looked in the box room, there was no one there either. My sister hadn't got back from school yet, because she used to come back later. So I just went in my room, which was the bigger room, and I went in, and I was So I'm doing all my Bruce Lee moves and everything in my bedroom, when all of a sudden I hear a door close. Now I didn't hear anyone come in through the front door or anyone come up the stairs. I just heard the door or a door close. So I thought, well, that's strange. So I came out of my room and the doors was open. When I got there, the box room door was open and my parents' door was open, but the box room door was now closed. So I thought, well, that's strange. So I walked up to the door and opened it and looked inside, and there was nobody in there. So I then looked in my parents' room. No one was in there. I didn't even hear anybody coming up the stairs. This was a very old house, and a lot of strange things did used to happen there. I mean, we had like this banging. Whenever it was windy, we had this banging on the wall in the living room that sounded like someone was in the garage bashing, the wall with something. My dad used to say, oh, the little man's got his hammer out, and is it in the wall? But yeah, very, very strange. So, there was no one in there. As I said, I wasn't particularly scared because it was a lovely summer's day. It was really bright in the house and everything else. I decided to go downstairs just in case. But I didn't hear anyone, and you'd always hear, if anyone come in, you'd hear them coming up the stairs, because the stairs was all creaky as hell anyway. So, yeah, I went downstairs, looked everywhere, there was nobody there. My dog was asleep in the living room. And then, because I looked in there, and then she got up and come and greeted me. And, so there was clearly no one there. I went back upstairs, and the door, there it was, still open, because I'd left it open. But, to this day, I have absolutely no idea, why the door closed. None of the windows was open either. I thought maybe, if the windows was open, the wind could have, made it close. But it's not, it didn't slam either, it just shut like normal, like a normal closed door. So, I just went back into my room, into my bedroom, and carried on playing Bruce Lee, and then a little bit later, my mum came home and my sister came home. Yeah, and it didn't ever happen again, but it was just that one time. But yeah, as I said, I wasn't afraid, but it was a bit creepy. Nevertheless, I was a bit sort of confused, because I thought, well, how did that door close? That's really weird. So I thought I'd tell you that, guys, on this sort of, it's very, very dark here today, and stormy, as you can hear. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little story that I've told you, and I hope you get some relaxation from it. Don't have nightmares. That was a very, very strange thing that happened. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will be back very, very soon with more videos. I've got a ramble about Resident Evil Requiem, and hopefully be showing a little bit of gameplay from the demo. I've got some more eating videos coming up, so there's plenty on the way, guys. Please stay tuned. Please subscribe too, because I'm getting closer and closer to 50,000. 50,000. What's a funkin'? What film was that from? I bet not many people get that. 50 okay? Oh guys, it's so good to see you. It's Saturday night. I'm gonna go and pour myself a cognac. Put on the 35mm print of, I don't know yet, but I will be sure to turn it off and put the 4K on because it will look better. But in the meantime, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful